Great. Well, so today we are going to continue from where we left last time, and yeah, hopefully we are going to finish the basics about HTML today, and hopefully by next week start another language that will help us actually start giving to our web pages or our website, giving it a little bit of styling, and giving it a very great looking. So today, hopefully, let's be more active, more proactive, and let's all practice as we are moving uh, forward with the session. Let be active. I hope everyone's VS Code is already launched. If you haven't launched yours, please kindly do so that we can follow the session. Uh, yeah. So if your VS Code is not yet launched, please do so that we can all get started. So I think last time we gave an assignment. I hope everyone made it actually. It was a very simple, very basic assignment. It was just to create 4 pages and link all those pages using an A tag, like the anchor tag. I mean, so this was very, very basic. I think we can actually start from there. We can actually do it together. So I will do it when you guys will be watching, and maybe next time I will come and tell who actually tried to make it great. And of course, if you used these AI chatbots, it's okay, but make sure you will do what, make sure you understand what the chatbot actually generated to you. Of course, it's not bad using these tools, but the bad thing is not understanding what these tools actually give you. So yeah, we'll be working on the assignment in like 5 minutes, I guess, and after that we'll start today's session. So today we are going to get deeper into the HTML tags. So we'll be seeing the image tag, which I believe everyone on the call today knows how to use it. We'll also be looking at lists. So we'll be seeing how to use lists, and when can we use the lists inside HTML or when designing our website. Other than that, we'll see what's a division, and of course what is a span. And after that, we'll move immediately to, let me actually, yeah, I hope you can see my, so today is day 2. We'll be seeing how to create forms using all of these tags. So using the form tags, we'll see how we use this in practice. So other than that, we also see some attributes. Of course, I'm going to define or to tell you guys what are attributes and how can we use them and at what specific moment. So also introducing you guys to semantic elements like headers, navigations, main, articles, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the day, I think we'll conclude again with an assignment. That will be the assignment will be just like an improved version of the previous assignment. So I think that would be all for today. So we are on day 2, and for day 1 I think there are some tags left, so we are going just to brush up a little bit and then move to day 2. I think we are all good. So if we are good, kindly, I don't know, just react, do something for me to great, forgive. Francis, great, 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 great. That's awesome. So guys, let's get started. So I'm going to move to my VS Code. I'm gonna open this. So for now, I have like one, two, and three files on my. Please kindly ignore the README and the license files. Just consider these ones, the HTML files, right? So uh, I have to get someone in admits. Okay. So we are going to work on this assignment together. So the first one, I can see create 4 pages. Index, I already have an index page. Skills, I've already created the skills page. Profile, okay, we have profile. So projects, I'm going to create another file called projects.what.html. And remember, in the last session, we said you can either use HTML or HTML, right? So the most common used is actually HTML. That's why we are also using it. So I've created my file. The next one is contact. So I'm going to create another one. I call it contact.html, right? I think I'm done with the first instruction. So I'm going to jump to the following uh instruction. It says what? Add links. Somebody's microphone is on. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so they say add links to all pages, add images to all 4 pages, add headings to all 4 pages, add at least 2 paragraphs to all or in all pages, right? So index one, we worked on it last time. So there is a nomad thing, like there I am not going to add too much things in it. Let me just jump immediately to the contacts and do what? And do our doc type, right? Doc type HTML. Okay, I'm going to do enter, open HTML, right? Get in and do head. Okay, forgive and Francis, I can see your hands up. Do you have any question?
Yeah, we
Yes,
can see your
so
screen.
thank you. Yeah, we can see your screen, but we can't see what you are doing on the
What's
screen.
happening there?
I think it's maybe internet issue. Can you please like leave the call and then connect again?
Okay.
Yeah. Forgive.
Yes,
Still the
sir.
same issue.
Yeah, we can see everything you are doing, but we can't see exactly what you are typing. Yeah, it's okay now.
Can you see?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Great. So let's continue. All right. So in the head, I'm going to put my title, that specific page title, right? Title. We already know what to do, and I will write my contact. My contact. Okay, I leave the head and I'm going into my body, right? I'm going inside the body and I'm going to add, let's say the instruction said what, at least 2 paragraphs, add headings to all the 4 pages and so on, so forth. So I'm going to do four like paragraph. I'm going to add just 1 paragraph. We already know the tag to use, it's P. So hello world, here is my contact page. Forgive, your hand is raised.
Yeah, please, it's still the same.
Still the same.
Yes. So we
Once
only see you after you've typed. We can't see, I cannot see what you are typing. but after you've typed, everything reflects. It wasn't like that the last time we joined. So I don't know if
Oh,
my other colleagues are also having the same problem.
I'm also having the same problem here.
uh, what about others? Is it the same thing?
No, I can see.
Okay. So
I think
I've
sometimes it's a
actually,
network issue.
yeah, might be network issue. So let's all, if you have your camera on, please off it so that we can have a good bandwidth available for us. If you have your camera on, please off it. Great. So I've actually integrated my first paragraph. Hello world. Here is my contacts page. I will integrate another paragraph, right? And okay, let me generate one paragraph like this. Doesn't make any sense, but so another one is add images to all uh the 4 pages. So we actually gave you a resource that would help you to actually understand how to integrate an image inside your HTML document, right? So to integrate an image inside your HTML document, all you have to do is to use the HTML tag called what? Called img, right? So it's like this img, right? And then you specify where we find what we will find the image, like the path. So that path can be a specific path inside your project folder. Like I mean here, if you copy an image and paste it inside your folder, you can specify inside the src equals, you open the double quote like that. It can be again double quote or the single ones. Okay, both of them actually work correctly. So you specify here, let's say if, let me try to copy an image from um my finder. Let me see if I have an image somewhere. Okay, let me copy this image, come and paste it inside here and paste here. So this is my image. I'm going to rename it let's say just image. It's an SVG, so don't worry about that, but it can be any image format, right? It can be as SVG, JPG, and so on, PNG, and so on, so up, right? So I'm going to immediately integrate my image .svg, right? And then if you go through the resources I sent, there is a link that I sent you telling you that an image is a self-closing tag. So we don't have to put another, like a closing tag like this. Okay, like I am sorry, img, like that. Sorry, like that. Okay, it's not necessary, right? So the image is a self-closing tag, meaning you can ignore the closing one. It will still work perfectly, right? So at this specific moment, I think our image is already inserted inside this contacts page, this contacts web page, right? But yeah, we'll see a little bit other attributes that we can add to the image tag. So for now, all we have to add is actually, so we've integrated an image. Let's do a heading, and of course we have already integrated a paragraph. So okay, let me just flip this. Instead of a paragraph, I'm going to put it a title of, let's say, a second level, right? H2. So I think I'm all set. So let me add a link here. Let's say A, right? And href, it's going to bring us either to index, and we say go to home page. I'm going to copy this, Control C, Control V, right? I change here, other than index, we have contact, go to contact, right? Paste it again, Control V. This will go to projects, go to project page, go to contact page, go to project page, right? I think, are we all set? So it's no skills, right? So yeah, I think we are all set. Let's go back to contact. So we already know how to do what, how to actually launch file, how to launch HTML documents from our file explorer or finder, right? So it's just going where you saved your project. I will go to finder, I will go to documents, take nomad again, and then I'm looking for my contact. Here it is. Either you double click it, or you do what, you right click, open with your preferred what, your preferred browser. I'll open with Chrome, and of course you can see what, you can see my you can see what, you can see my title, you can see my heading, you can see my paragraph, you can see my links there. But we have something interesting here. It's actually an image, but that is not showing. We are going to figure out why it's not working. Well, I thought someone was raising their hands. Okay, so let's keep
Yeah, that's the
moving.
question I wanted to ask before.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Edwin,
Yeah, it's the same thing because when you put the image from your machine and you refresh the page, you're not able to see the image. But if it's an image from an online source, you're able to see. I wanted to know why. Yeah.
can you say it again? I couldn't get you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your voice is not coming out correctly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can now.
Okay, I was saying that. Hello?
Go on. Hey,
Yeah, I was saying that when you insert an image from the machine, the laptop, or you are not able, when you refresh the page, you couldn't see it, but if it's an online image, you're able to see. I wanted to inquire why that is.
okay. Is can someone
Yeah, yeah,
get
I think
what?
I've heard him. Yeah, Edwin, you are asking if why you are not seeing the local image on your laptop, but the ones online you can see them. You should be able to see both of them, actually. So, but then there's something wrong that Benedict will help you fix that. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So for now, as you can see, I have all my links. I have my paragraph, I have my heading. Okay, so I can click go to home, can bring me to home. I can go back, go to contacts. Of course, I don't have like my contact. Okay, I'm already on my contacts page. Can click go to projects. My project document is still empty. That's why we are seeing this blank screen, right? So everything is working as expected, apart from the what, apart from the image. So let's see what's wrong with our image. So I will go back to my VS Code. Okay, so you can see instead of writing what SVG I wrote what image.svp, and that's why my image is what my image is not showing up inside my browser. So I'm going to fix that. I will change P to what to G. Okay, save my documents, Control S, go back to my browser and refresh, and now you can see my image displaying perfectly. I think we are all good. So in case you have an image that is not displaying, try to check first the name. If the name is well spelled, and check again the extension of your image. Okay, it can be either, let me add a comment. I think this is the right time to make use of the comments. So I will use yeah, right. So Edwin, any
Okay,
question?
does that mean you don't have to copy the path to the image, or you're just using the name you save the image with?
All right. So an HTML document, right? Make sure you create either a subfolder inside your project, or you place immediately, you copy and paste your image immediately in the root folder of your project. Right? So for me, for instance, I actually copied my image directly inside my root folder, which is the Tech Nomad Fellowship, right? But for you, make sure you create, you can actually decide to create a folder and name it images, right? And actually move your image inside this specific folder like that. So here you can see, if I actually unfold, okay, if I unfold this, you can see I have an image. If I fold it, you can see the image disappears, right? So that means the image is already, let's say, a child of what, of this directory, the image directory. So in this specific case, you won't actually integrate it as we did here, right? So you have to actually you have to type the absolute path of what, of the image. Is it absolute or relative? I think it's absolute. Yeah, you have to actually write an absolute path of what, of where your images are located. So for instance, here by default, the root folder is Tech Nomad Fellowship. So I'm going to add images like this, right? And then I put what, the back, is it backward or forward? Backward slash, right? I'm going to put backward slash images. I get into this specific folder, and then inside the folder, the images folder, find what, an image called what, called image.svg. I'm not so sure if you can copy any specific path from whatever folder on your local computer. Make sure all the images are inside your project folder, right? Don't just copy any specific image path on wherever your images are located. Let's say you have your images inside the let's say document, and inside document you've created, I don't know, images folder, or I don't know, whatever name you give to it. Make sure all your images are located in within what, your project folder, as I just did here. That will make your life easier, and like will make your life easier to integrate all of these assets. We all good? So here you can see, if I do Control S again, go and refresh my page, you can see nothing changes. But if I actually get rid of the images, do Control S, go back to my web browser, you can see the same issue that we had is already displaying again, meaning that it can't find the image.svg on the what, on the root folder, on the root yeah, the root folder of our project, right? So we have to actually say, hey, I have my images inside what, inside the image. I'm in the root folder. So inside the root folder, I have another subfolder called images. And inside the images, I have now one image called image.svg. Now Control S again, go and refresh, and then you can see the image right back. I think we are all good. If you have any question, so I think everyone actually understood this from the resources we share, because this was part of the assignment. So if you have any question, please ask it before we jump to integrating the lists. Any question before we move? All right. If there is no question, that's a good sign. So I think we are all good with the assignment, right? So just make sure you can actually duplicate, copy and paste this inside other pages, right? It's basically the same thing, but we are not going to do it right now, since we have to actually move forward with the. Okay, have to let someone in. Admit. Great. Forgive. I can
Yes,
see your
please.
hand.
Yeah, please. I just want to find out, when I was submitting my assignment, I only submitted it individual. I was not able to compress or zip my folder before submitting. So I don't know if that was right of me or wrong. Thank you.
All right. I think the major thing was to submit. For now, we can actually just receive any formats, and yeah, I think we can receive any formats. The good thing was just to submit it, and yeah, let's see what you've done, and of course try to evaluate how you actually did it. Great. Okay, so let's move now. Let's see. So I'll go back to my index. Let me see what we have inside our index. I will refresh. I will use my navigation link here. I'll go to home. So this is what we have inside our index. Our index is considered as our home page, right? So we are going to see how to use lists. So lists will basically help us. Of course, it's a list. It's a self explained, right? So it's a list, and it will help us list elements inside our website. And this list can be anything you can think about, anything you can like imagine, anything you want to list. Okay, and you can use those lists inside your website. So we have two types of lists. We have ordered lists and unordered lists. So ordered lists will be basically things that follow, say, a certain hierarchy, right? You have element number one that must come before all the other elements. Okay, so it's ordered, right? Let's say what's the best example of the best example I can use for the ordered list? Like things that follow a certain hierarchy. In the family, we know that okay, in a family, let me use that very basic example. We know that we have a father, that's one. Two, we have a mother, that's two. Three, we have, let's say, the first child, that's three. So it's something that is ordered. It follows certain rules. Okay, but an ordered list that doesn't follow any rule. Like the first element can come first, the second, like there is no order. Let's say you want to, you know, do a grocery, right? You want to buy sugar, you want to buy bread, you want to buy, let's say, what else? Okay, anything you can imagine. You are going to the supermarket, you want to buy things, right? There is no order of like saying, hey, I want to buy let's say bread before milk, right? Uh, at the time you reach where the bread is, you can just take it and put it inside the bucket and so on, right? So let's see how we can implement that practically, right? We are still inside our body tag. Okay, I think there is someone. Meet. So we are still inside our body tag. And remember, we said that we have two major big, like, child of the HTML tag. We have the head, this is the first child. We have the body, the second child. So in the body, all the elements that we'll be typing, all the elements that we want them to be seen by the user, we have to place them inside the body tag. So here you can see what we have basically in our browser. So I'm going to go right below the H6. I can basically delete all of this because we already know how to use them. So I will refresh and here we go. So we are going to start using lists, right? So I will write, let's say, okay, this heading 3, I say here is a list of things to buy at the supermarkets, right? I refresh, you can see my title. I can actually decide to make it an H1 so that it will be a little bit bigger. I think we already know the difference, right? So below this, I'm going to declare a list. Let's start with an ordered list. So to declare an order, excuse me. Okay, I can see someone's hand raised. Can you just ask the question if you do have? Vida, if I pronounced it well. Okay, let's keep going. So I've actually put my title, so I'm going to list now my elements. Okay, so yesterday I told you that these HTML tags are actually English words, but some of them are, just let's say first letters of English words, right? So we are starting with the unordered list, and to declare an unordered list, you have to use the keyword or the initial UL, which stands for what? Unordered list, right? I'm going to close it. Open. Okay, it's already closed thanks to my IDE, my VS Code. So inside, I will declare what we call list item, right? So list item are basic. I mean, a list item is actually a child of what? Of the unordered list or on an ordered list. So these will be the elements that we want to list. But before listing them, make sure they are included inside what's inside the UL, or we are going to see another type very soon. Please, I can't see your interface. Francis, is that the same case to everyone?
Yeah.
If you're having that issue, please just maybe leave and reconnect again. You can leave the call and join again. So well, but react if you are seeing my screen right now, so that I can know that you are on the same page. React if you are good. If you can see my VS Code now, just great.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, please. I can't see your screen.
What about now? Can you see it?
No.
Can you see it right now?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's in. That was the
All
reason
right.
why I raised my hand.
Okay. Forgive. You have your hand raised.
Yes, please. So the problem is anytime you are typing, I am not able to
Mhm.
see. But after you've left the interface and get back, then whatever you typed just appeared. I don't know if that is happening to everyone else. But anytime you are typing, I don't see.
Yes, I share in that also. The network is really terrible this
The
evening.
same here as well. The network is very bad.
Okay. Let me see if I can um window. Give me a second. I want to try something and see. Okay. I think it's internet issue on my side. Please bear with me just a few seconds. I'm coming. What about now? Let me try something. Can you see what I'm typing?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. Forgive. Is it the same thing? Can you see it?
Please, it's good now. Thank you.
Okay. So give me a second. I have to. Great. So hope everything is correct right now. Let me see if I can. Okay, I can install it from here. But all right. Yeah, let's keep going. So well, I was saying that we have two categories of lists. We have ordered lists, we have an ordered list, right? So to declare an ordered list, you have to type what? UL, which stands for an ordered list, right? And inside an ordered list, like a a direct of an ordered list is what we call a list item. So to declare a list item, you have to what? Type list item li, right? And close it. And then let's say here's a list of things you want to buy at the market. So let's say you want to buy bread. I'll do the same thing. Li, another list item. I want to buy sugar. Another li. I want to buy what? I want to buy okay, let's say Milo. I don't know if I spell it correctly. Anyway, I want to buy honey. Okay, so this is how we will declare what? We will declare an ordered list, right? So another second, I have to figure out how to run this from my browser immediately. So one second, please. All right, all right, all right. How can I run this? Give me a second, another second, another second. Okay, sorry guys, I have to Google. Okay, let me see if new terminal. Okay, it's a lot of work, guys. So for now, I can't run my code. I don't know how to run my code immediately from my VS Code web. So unfortunately, the only option is to switch back to my local VS Code, hoping that we won't get this issue again. Control C, I'm going to paste it locally, right? Uh, Great. If I save it, I go back here, I refresh. You can see now what my an order list is displaying these elements, right? Can you all see my code? Please don't tell me that you're not seeing it. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So let's keep going. Let me this VS Code web. Great. So we can see our unordered list, and you can see it displays in bullet points, meaning that there is no, like, you know, structure, there is no hierarchy, there is no whatever. Like, you can start with any element, any list item, right? It doesn't matter, the order doesn't matter. So let's see how we can declare an ordered list, right? It's basically the same thing, but instead of using ul as an ordered list, you will use what? Ol, which means ordered list, and the elements, the children, will remain actually the same. You'll still use what? Li, right? So I'm going to, here's the list. Let's say here's the list. Okay, let's say the family is okay, I don't know if that's the right English, so I'll use ol, right? I'll close my ol and then start my li, right? I will use I will say father, right? I copy, I'll use mother, brother, sister, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to refresh, and you can see it's actually what my title is there, and you can see an ordered list. So it depends on your use case. When you are listing elements inside your web or your web app, your web page, your website, it's up to you to actually define what kind of list you want, you actually want to use, right? So there is no rule. There is, I think the only rule is based on the elements you have. Are they ordered elements? Are they unordered elements? Okay, if they are unordered, you already know what to use. If they are ordered, you already will know what to use. Okay, guys, I think I hope that's clear. But if you have questions, so you can see these bullet points, you can see these specific numbers. So these are like this is the look that comes by default. But moving forward, when we will see CSS, we can see actually how you can change that dynamically, or yeah, you can give it any look you want. We'll see that, I think, next Tuesday. I'm not sure, but yeah, let's see what we have today. Right, guys? So that's all for lists. If you have any question, great. I think there is no question. So let's move forward. So this is what we
Please
have
go back. Please go back.
to the code.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you.
All right. So I will do what I will do. Okay, let's see now the next elements. The next element we are going to see is actually what we call a division, right? So a division, actually, it will help us just to, it will serve as a container of certain elements inside our web page. Okay, that's just the role of a division. Let's say, for example, let me access a web page that is open somewhere. Okay, let me say tech. I want to access TechCrunch right now. I'll open this, right? So a division, basically, it will serve as a container inside our web page, right? For here, for example, here you can see I have this container, this division here. It has a very, you can see, small title, a very bold one, and a very small. So this, a set of these elements will serve, will actually embed it inside what we call a div. So it's a set of elements, title, let's say a paragraph, a header, or whatever. So this is what we call a division. We can see inside this web page, we have several divisions. So a division is just a container that will help us to wrap a set of elements, a set of, a set of HTML tags. Yeah. So here you can see even a OL is actually serving as a container, right? So a division, you can either, it's up to you. When designing your websites, moving forward, you will see how it will serve, how it will be of use to us. But just to make it practical, let's see how we can use a division. So a division, we are going to use the tag div, div, like that. Okay, so let's open div, let's close it. So this is how we'll be declaring a division, right? I will go inside and say my name is, okay, my name is, that's the title, Ben, right? And I will say, let's say, a paragraph, and I'll say okay, I'm a web developer, and I will say, let's say, what again, what can we, okay, right, I can say, let's say, portfolio, see or view my portfolio, right? So this is a division that helps me to what, to actually embed all the three elements. So all the three elements are direct children of this division. That's all what a division will actually be of help to us when designing a website. Other than that, it has no other role, right? It will serve us as a container. It will serve us to wrap a set of what, a set of elements. So you can now decide to, let's say, we'll see that when we move to CSS. You can now decide, hey, I want this division, this div here, this container to be, let's say, at the right left corner, okay, or I want it to be at the bottom. So when you move this div, all the children inside it will actually move with that div. That's how a division will help us, right? So I think that makes sense. Otherwise, you can still ask a question, but I think we'll see it practically when using what, when we move to the next module. So if you still have question, please don't hesitate to ask it.
So please go back to the code.
Yeah,
So it means that you can put the division for all of like the where you did the ordered list. You can also put it
of
into a
course,
division.
you can decide to actually declare a div here, right? And enter in, cut everything from here and put it inside a div. You can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a
So
container, a
the div is
wrapper.
also a child under the body.
Yeah, of course it is. Are we all good?
All right. Sure.
Great. So let's now move. So let's see quickly what are the attributes, right? I think we are a little bit behind.
So sorry to interrupt again.
Okay, go on.
So the div doesn't really uh change anything to um the website except for CSS use purposes.
Come again. Say that again.
I'm asking I'm asking so the div when you declare it in the code,
Mhm.
it in itself does not make any changes to the website except
Oh,
if you want to use CSS to style it.
yeah, it doesn't actually, it just wraps the elements, but you won't see like any major difference. Of course, there is a difference. So a div is called it's called an block element, right? So let me show you something here. I hope you can all see it. So you can see where I declared my div. Let me element. Okay, so a div is basically called a block element, meaning that where I declare a div, right, the div will actually take the whole space, like the whole um width of the screen, right? You can see here my div is right here, and you can see this orange. Where is it? You can see, sorry, yeah, you can see this orange line here, right? So it means the div
Yeah.
is actually occupying the whole screen. That's the only difference you can see when using a div, but other than that, you won't see any effects of the div unless you integrate CSS. You can see my link here. My link is called an inline element. Like you can place elements in one line, they will still what? They will still be in the same line. But if you put two divs side by side, right? Let's see it. I have this the first div. I declare another second. Let me just copy and paste this, right? Let me call this, I am also an entrepreneur, right? I am right? So you can see here when I come here to my browser, when I refresh, you can see I have my name is, which is a div. It's called a block element, to meaning I mean it occupies the whole width of the screen, and it pushes the next element to the next line, right? The next div is here. It's actually coming to the next line, but uh, if we see with our links, where are those links? Let me say, I'm not putting the links inside the div, right? Or I can even put them inside the link, a div. I can add another a okay, contact HTML, contact me, and come back here, refresh. You can see the links. You can see they're appearing side by side. These are called inline element. Like another element can come right after another one. But talking about div, when you declare a div, it actually takes the whole space and pushes another div to the next line. Okay, that's the only difference you can see with a div. Other than that, you'll only see the difference. You only notice a difference when you're applying your CSS or your style. Good.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Great. So let's keep moving. So let's quickly see what are attributes, right? So attributes, uh, they are not tags per se, right? Attributes will help us provide additional information about our HTML elements. By that I mean it includes okay, it will be included inside the opening tags of our HTML elements. Okay, so for instance, here we can see in the opening tag of our anchor, our A tag, right? Our opening tag here, you can see we added something called href, right? This is called attribute. It's called an attribute because it helps us actually add an additional information, an additional layer to our link, because without that specific attribute, we won't be able to actually click that specific link and be redirect where we want to go, where we want the user to go, right? So an attribute, as I was saying, it provides just an additional information about an HTML element. Okay, so for instance, we've used one href and we already know what it helps us, right? So we used another one when we were using I think it's inside, yeah. So for the image tag, we can see that we used an src attribute, right? So these specific these attributes, some of them can be specifically used for a selected number of HTML tags. For instance, you can't use an src, you can't insert it on a head, let's say a head tag. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, the HTML structure doesn't allow you to actually do that. You can only use an src attribute on an image tag, right? A href, you can only use it on an anchor tag, an anchor tag, right? So an a tag, you can only use the href on that specific tag. Okay, but let's see, we have already seen the src, which helps us actually specify the path or the a link where we want the user to get certain resource or assets. It can be an image, it can be another external file, it can be yeah. So you can see the src, you can use it on image, but there are other HTML tags that also accept src. but we are not yet there. So let's just keep the image for now, right? So the SRC specifies what's the source of the image. For now, let's keep it that way, right? And the href, as I was saying, it specifies the URL of a link. This is what we've tested, and we saw actually how it works. Let's see another specific attribute. Let's go back to our index and say, let's say we take our div here, right? There is an attribute called ID. So this attribute will actually specifies a unique ID for an element. For now, so you can add it by actually tapping into the opening tag of our div. Always opening tag. Don't come and put it on our closing tag, right? Always put it on the opening tag of your elements, right? So we add ID equals, you can either use single quotes like this, single quotes like this, or double quotes. Okay, it will still work. So here ID, I can see, let's say it makes sense to call it, okay, my portfolio, right? So I will just name it portfolio. Port portfolio. So wherever I want to actually call this specific div, or let's say modify it, you see that practically in CSS, I will use this specific ID. This is a unique identifier of what, of this div. Okay, it's like your national ID. It's unique to you, to a specific individual, right? So whenever they want to look for a specific let me see, okay, Godwin, whenever they want to like make reference to a specific Godwin, they will call your specific identity. That's your specific identifier. That's something that will identify you inside the country, right? So this is supposed to be unique. It's your ID. It's unique. Nobody else is supposed to have the same ID with you. And it's the same thing. The same rules apply here in web development, or let's say in HTML. Okay, so I'm going just to a little do something. Let's say okay, please don't mind this for now. Let me just do this, and the portfolio, I'm calling that ID, and do what, and do background color. Okay, let's say I want this blue here, and I do Control S. I go inside my HTML, I refresh. You can see that my div has now this background, meaning that I've called instead of yeah, I've called what, the unique identifier of this whole div, and say what, take this specific identifier, give it a background color of blue, and when you come here, you can see only that div is affected, right? Let's say we have another div. Okay, div contact. Okay, so if I want to modify this, I will call this specific identifier. Let's say here, I will come here and paste this, right, and say background color, let's say red. A little bit ugly, but yeah, you can see how these things are changing, right? So ID will basically help us identify or target specific elements inside our HTML document. So yeah, that's ID attributes. Let's see now what a class is. Okay, an ID is supposed to be unique, but let's see now what a class attribute is. So I will okay, let me use ID here, and here I'm going, instead of using ID, I'm going to use class, right? And do that like that, and make it contact. I'll give it a class. So An ID is supposed to be unique. So a class here, a class specifies actually one or more class names for an element. Okay, so this will help us more in styling when we will see CS, when we will jump into CSS, right? So a class will help us identify one or more what more names for an element inside our document. While an ID is supposed to be unique and to be applied on only one element, a class can be applied to several elements. Okay, so you can use you can declare another div. You can declare another div here. Let me just copy this. Sorry, guys. Copy this and paste it. Let's say again. Sorry. I am a tech entrepreneur, right? So yeah, I'm gonna give this a class. I can say class and make it again contact. So for a class, you can actually use one class, one name of the class to, you can apply it to several elements. Okay, so if I actually take this and say, let me use a style, sorry, style here, and call dot contact, right? And say background color equals what? Equals aqua marine or whatever. Aqua marine, like that. So if I refresh, you will see all my two div have changed to what? Color of my divs have changed. Okay, so this is the contact. We applied it to two elements, and both elements actually take that styling that I just applied. Okay, so you can use a class attribute to several elements inside your website, inside your web page, but you can only use an ID to one and only one element. It's an ID, it's an identifier, only one element. For a class, it's like a class of students, right? There are certain rules that apply to that specific class. Let's say you have to come early to class, you have to do the assignment, you have to, okay, but inside the class there is something unique that identifies those specific individuals. Okay, I think we are all good with that, but if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask it.
So when you are declaring the class,
Okay.
hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes,
Go on.
I'm asking, when you are declaring the class, please go back to the code.
Okay.
Yes. Can you bring it down? Can you bring the class down the div, or it's always
Down
supposed
the,
to be beside the div?
so it has to be beside the opening, not beside, but inside the opening tag, your opening tag,
Div.
right? So here we have the div, just put it inside. But of course you can do like this. So HTML, the HTML doesn't actually consider the white space and all of those things. You can do it that side. If you have installed some, code formatter, or yeah, inside your IDE or your text editor, it will bring it back. So you can actually do like this, but it doesn't do anything. It's the same thing, but make sure it's always in your opening tag. I don't
That
know if I just answered your question or.
yes, I get it. Thank
All
you.
right, all right, all right. I can see Junior, Nutako Junior. You have a question? Please go on. Okay, let's keep moving. So there is another attribute. We've seen already an href attribute. Okay, Junior, go on. All right. Apparently, great. So we have another attribute that is href. We already know what it does. So it specifies the URL of what, of a link. So there is another attribute called alt, right? So alt provides like an alternative text for an image. For instance, remember when where was that? I think it was in contacts. Okay. When we inserted our image inside our contacts page, right? So instead of SVG, I put SVP. And when we refresh the page like this, where is my contact me, right? You can see that there is something broken here, something that breaks, right? So to avoid that, or to give the user an idea of what specific image is there, we can add another attribute. Remember, please note that you can add more than just one attribute to an element, as long as that element can accept that specific attribute. Okay, so you can't add this attribute. There is an attribute called alt. Okay, alt, alternative. So it's just an alternative text that will be displayed just in case something goes wrong when trying to display an image. So it would be like that. And let's say an image. Okay, let's say there is an image here. An image here, right? So I'll do Control S, go back to and when I activate, you can see the text coming, right? That's an alternative text that is supposed to actually tell the user, someone who is viewing your website, that hey, there is something breaking here, but just get that at this specific place we are actually supposed to have an image here. So let's say on Facebook has gotten away a bit better, like they are using all of those machine learning and stuff. So they actually they determines if on an image there are, let's say, two people doing whatever. So they will tell you, here there is an image of two people standing, I don't know where at the beach. So they will display that alternative text to you. So just in case an image is not displaying, or in case, let's say, the internet is low or it's taking longer to display the image, this alternative text will display. So you can't use alt on let's say a title tag or on a tag. Alt is only an attribute that can be used on an image tag. Okay, great. I think we are all good. Otherwise, any question? Let me see. Junior?
Yeah, please, I just want to recap. You said we use IDs on only unique elements on a page, and then classes for elements that are going to be frequently used on a page. I want to get that if that's it.
Okay, let me take it again. So IDs are used on specific like elements that you want, let's say, you will only use once, or you want those elements to be unique. That's where you can use an ID. But of course, you can still use a class, but make sure the class has let's say a name that is different from others. Because if you give two elements the same class, that means those two elements, the style that you will apply to that specific class will also apply to these two specific elements. Okay, but if it's an ID and you use one ID, let's test it. Let's see it in practice. Let me say I have can I do here? I'm going to copy this, right? And so it's ID portfolio. I'm going to do, let's say I want to create um amazing websites for my clients. Please support my work. You can see here what I've done before. So I'm going to refresh, go back to home. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to apply style. I'm going to take portfolio, right, and say background color red, color white. Okay, so these are my elements that I have applied the background color red to, right? So in I don't know how I'm going to explain that so that you can see the difference. Let me see. How can I explain that so that you can get the
Let
difference
let
between a class and
please
a div?
let me try and see if
Okay,
I'm correct.
go on, please. Yeah.
So for the class, what happens is that when you declare it, every other um, content that you put under it, when you apply a certain what do you call a certain styling to it, it affects everything. But for the ID, when you declare it, it affects only one thing, but not every other thing that is under it. I don't know if I'm correct.
So let me. Okay, so in theory, let me just explain a high level what this is. In theory, unique identifiers are supposed to be assigned to one and only one thing. If I look at your code and an ID applies to two things, you are not a good programmer. It just doesn't make any sense, right? IDs are expected to be unique. Now, a class, in theory, a class is a group of things that have common properties. I don't know if you understand that. A group of things that have common property. Now, we all are in this class together because we are interested in learning HTML and CSS. All right, that's why it's called a class, a group of things with a common property. So when you declare a class, what they are saying is that there are similarities between the things that are having the same class. I don't know if it makes sense. So three divs can belong to the same class because they have something in common. But it doesn't make any theoretical sense to say that three divs have the same ID. Then what is unique about them in the first place? So in theory, that's it. You get it from a theory and then you apply it in real world. And remember that programming just simulates real life. Programming attempts to copy real life behaviors as much as possible. So you understand it from a real life. You and I are in this class because we are all learning programming together. You and I don't have the same ID because we are different entities. So we don't expect that an ID belongs to multiple things, but it's possible that two or more things or 100 things can belong to the same class. That's the theoretical explanation. That's how they establish these things. Thank you.
All right.
Sharp.
Thank you, Bright. I hope, Junior, I think it's now clear. So we'll actually see it practically when we move to TSS. Because for now we are just getting like a high level. We are getting a high level understanding of these elements. All right. So I think we are running out of time, but I hope we are now good with the attributes, right? So the next session will mostly be on the form. Unfortunately, I am going to give you resources because we didn't actually start
Yeah,
the
it's very
module.
clear now. Thank you.
We didn't start the second module that could help us do the today assignment, but you are going to do it. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to share resources with you guys, and then we will improve our previous homework from there, right? So I'm going to share resources with you, and then we'll come next Tuesday to actually discuss what you guys learned from those resources. And of course, you have to actually work on your assignments, and we'll discuss some of the challenges you guys faced. If you have any challenge, don't actually hesitate to reach out either to Courtney, Bright, or any other person or myself. Just reach out and we have a chat and try to see how we can help each other. So I think that's all for today. But before actually moving, let's see what the assignment is. So I'm going to do what to. Right, let's just see here. So the assignment is actually the personal portfolio you designed previously, okay, with your four pages, your links, and all of those elements you actually used. So we are going to improve it, okay, and allow the user. This time we are going to allow the user to type something on our website. Let's say we want to collect some information about the user. So we are going to use what we call forms in HTML. So these forms will be made of some inputs, some text areas, some buttons, and so on and so forth. So we were also going to include a header, a footer, and all of those. So this was supposed to be our today's module, but unfortunately, we had a lot to cover from the previous module. So I am going to share resources. I think will be self-explanatory, and yeah, we'll work on the assignments. I'll actually post the assignment maybe tomorrow. So by tomorrow, the assignment will be updated on the Google Classroom. So yeah, guys, if you have any question, please ask it before we wrap it up. Any question, anything you want to add, anything you learned you want to share with the fellows, anything like new you learned? If you have it, please kindly share before uh, we leave the call. Great. So let's say we are all good for today. So guys, I'll meet you again next Tuesday. In the meantime, I wish you a very fruitful weekend. I don't know if a weekend can be fruitful, but yeah, please enjoy your weekend and see you next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you. You
Thank
as
you.
well.